They basically take
No,
three-phase AC.
they're outrunner motor. So
What's
explain the motor.
Yeah, so they're outrunner motors, which basically means they're a specific kind of RC motor that is really high torque. And it takes AC current, and it basically is driven by this guy. This is like the brains of the whole thing right here. And then
Show me.
these, yeah, go for it. So these are powered. These are powered by battery pack right there.
So you designed that.
I did the whole thing,
Okay.
and then it's just controlled with a remote.
Blake,
So-
look up. This is Blake.
Hello. Hello.
Cutting edge. Okay.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, lovey.
Let's see.
So it's
Okay.
remote controlled and
It's a little
also,
jittery. It's a little
but you-
jittery when no one's on it, but that's about
so
it.
it's remote controlled and also a person can ride it
Yeah.
while they're controlling it.
Yeah. So that's the goal.
So show us, lovey.
There's a car about to turn in. So
I know. Stop, Lucy. Lucy, stay. Sit. Sit. Good girl. Okay. So, Blake, right now, are you controlling it by the remote or are you...
Yeah, by the remote.
So this is by remote and it's a skateboard. Blake, come back. Come back, love. So Blake, introduce yourself.
I am Blake. I am the neighbor.
What else are you besides the neighbor?
Software engineer.
Who do you work
Like
for?
Google. And
Mom, you don't want his whole life story.
yeah, no, this is just little hobby stuff I try to do right now.
So what benefit do you see to a remote controlled skateboard?
Enjoyment. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, I kind of miss snowboarding now that the season's over.
Right.
And I wanted something kind of similar, and people had said mountain boarding is kind of similar to snowboarding. So I thought it would be fun. And it's like, I mean, it's just it's a toy, pretty much. So
Sure,
I'm
but
gonna
it's
have fun
also
with it.
I get what you're saying. Like people who love snow sports would be totally attracted to, you know, riding on any street or incline
Oh yeah.
that they can. So tell me about the remote control.
Yeah, so it's just a little simple RC remote that you can get like on Amazon, and it's basically just like all it is a like a three-way toggle like this. So you just have to push forward to go forward, and then pull back for brake, and it's regenerative brake. So it's pretty simple to use. You know, it's just literally that motion, and that's it.
That's awesome. So I think what I'm seeing is that this is very simple to use, and it will also get people where they're going in a funner way.
Yeah.
Especially people who kind of miss the winter.
Yeah.
Take
And I
note,
think-
investors. Supplies are limited.
What?
Supplies are limited, so buy now.
Right. So show me more about this board.
So
How much did it cost you to make it?
Everything's pretty much custom ordered, so that's why it's also pretty expensive. It cost me about $1,400 to make it.
Wow. Well, it's a prototype. you know.
Yeah, a lot of time and effort. It took me probably 80 plus hours of assembling alone. The battery pack alone took a long time to get it right because like there's a lot of
Flip
stuff.
it open.
Yeah,
Mom, watch your drink.
Pick it.
there's a lot of stuff underneath of the battery pack that kind of tucked away so you can get a nice money shot from the surface.
Yeah.
But like this is the charger, and there's like 20 different wires that run to all these different series underneath of it, and it's just a lot of stuff that's kind of tucked away that you don't see the complexity of it.
Well, right. I mean, I think the lay person doesn't understand or comprehend how much ingenuity it takes to build this sort of thing. I mean, and in fact, I would also believe that they wouldn't have the desire.
Yeah, I think that's
So-
the biggest thing. Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing is the desire.
What brought you your desire?
I don't know. I just like I like to just make stuff. And
Well, lots of people like to make stuff and they're
Yeah.
not successful.
Yeah.
Where was your passion, Blake?
Where's my
Shut up.
passion? I don't.
Okay, don't be sarcastic.
I'm not being sarcastic. I'm asking.
No,
for-
seriously. Like a lot of people want to do this sort of thing.
Honestly, I don't know. There's something about being able to, like, have the idea of what you want,
Yeah.
and then just to know that, like, you can completely conceptualize it, like, and have the idea of what you want to exist, and then figure out how to bring it into existence. Like, it's kind of like a piece of me, because it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, when you're able to, I guess, like, you know enough to where you can, like, make the things you want to do. I don't know how to describe it. It's like, why do people like to make art, almost? It's
Yeah.
one of those kind of feelings. Like, it's kind of a feeling
But-
I had when I used to paint.
But why
It's
do
like-
you think you should be on Shark Tank?
Shut up. Okay, look, that's what doesn't get it. Okay.
I'll tell you
I'm
here,
listening.
Mr. Series A investor.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
No, I'm listening. No, and I appreciate what you're saying about why people like to paint versus why they like to make things that are artistic yet functional.
Yeah,
I
I think-
really appreciate what you're saying there.
Yeah.
You know, and in terms of that, I would say that you've grasped. So you've grasped modern culture. Like, we all want to get from point A to point B in the fastest way possible, but we kind of want to do it in a fun way, correct?
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, that being said, to find a way to engineer something that is fun and functional, yet dynamic in its build, it's an exalted way of thinking about art. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd probably say that.
You've been
I don't
an
think of
artist.
it. Yeah, I don't. think,
It's beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. Like, in other words, like, I've done lots of art. You know, paint. You know, acrylics, oils, like stained glass, like, sculpture. I've done a lot of things, and it's beautiful. But in terms of what is beautiful and what is functional, I think it's the higher element. Would you agree?
that functionality is the higher element, or
Yes.
the combo of
yes.
both.
In order, like, well, the combination of both, I should say. Yes, that's a good point. Like, in other words, it's a wonderful thing to paint a beautiful picture. It's a far greater thing to make something fancy
Yeah,
and give you a fancy sort of a function.
Yeah, the combination, like you said, the fancy sort of function, the combo of those two things together is, I think that's the most important, just because, like, there are things that are very functional but look bad.
Ugly.
And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah,
I would cite the Leaf.
yeah, that's a very great example, actually.
The Nissan
So,
Leaf, yeah. It's
Like, it's functional,
super
but
ugly.
it's like, it definitely is something when you can get,
It's not
both.
something
Well,
you want
let's
your
See
friends
just how
to see.
functional it is. Let's test it out.
Yes.
yeah,
So
let's take
Blake,
it around.
show us.
Yeah, I'm gonna do another lap around this
Perfect.
little island here. and
Thank
check
you,
it out.
Lovey.
Just watch out for the dog.
Blake, what's your last name?
Williams.
Blake Williams, my
He's
dear
single,
neighbor.
and he likes long walks on the beach.
And he is a handsome fella, and he's super intelligent.
Lucy.
So he is controlling it by. He's faster. He is controlling it by remote. So it's one thing to be able to get on any mode of
really
travel
flexy.
with
Really-
a remote. Now, can you imagine if you can just do this with the remote, with the
How's it handle over the bumps? Have you tried going
Not
bumps?
bad. It's
Really?
weird.
if you
because of the-
if you can imagine doing this with the remote for
What? What? Lucy.
I'm trying to put in the words remote for something better than walking, okay?
I would
Or a remote for a skateboard. But if you can do this with a skateboard, imagine what you can do, not only with a car, but even with a plane. Right? Right?
I think we're a bit ways away from there, but
Am
yeah, I
I
know what
wrong?
you mean.
Am
I know
I
what
wrong?
you mean. Yeah.
Do you get what I'm
This
saying?
thing better help me fly, or else
what I
I'm
mean,
not
yeah.
buying. I mean, come on.
Oh,
It'll,
hush.
it'll help you fly.
No,
make a
but you
sandwich,
understand what I'm saying. Like, and Blake, tell me, you've thought of this before.
Thought of what?
So if you
Oh,
can
this?
do that
Yeah.
with that, imagine what you can do with travel in general.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I don't know. It's
Right.
something I haven't. Yeah, I've considered a little bit of stuff, but it's like there's a lot of stuff that I think when you really want to make something like wholly unique in the realm of like mass consumerism, like to be able to make a car like that is a
This one?
yeah. It's like it's more than a one-person effort kind of thing. You know, it's like
Well, sure. It's a bunch of ideas coming together,
exactly.
right?
Does
You
it
have the
come with seat
designer.
belts, though? That's my
So
question.
you
Is
have
it friendly for the family?
you have the designer and you have the engineer and then I guess you have the marketer, you know, and then you have what really speaks to people. How do I get from point A to point B in the funnest way possible?
probably this.
No, that's the next ride. We can go anywhere we want to. What's the funnest?
Ooh, this is pretty close. I have yet to write it very much though.
Well,
yeah,
no,
like grappling
and
hook,
again,
there
I
you
mean,
go. Flying.
this is short distance. I guess I'm asking
Flying.
you.
That'll come next. When
Well,
we're done with
it's
this,
flying,
we'll
but
start working
how
on
do
the
we
flying
how
one.
do we bring flying to the next echelon? And
it's funny because I've actually
we can all travel, right?
Have you heard of paramotors?
Yeah.
I've actually heavily considered looking
Yeah.
into that because that's pretty cool. Because it's
You
like a
could
personal
do that,
parachute
that'd be
kind of
super
flying.
cool.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so right here in the now, people are figuring out how to sell fun travel. In other words, what's the best way that I can sell a private plane for people who want to travel? But that's only selling the ability to travel, you know?
Yeah.
So in other words, what do you think would be the most identifiable way to help people not only have to pay a good rate to have a decent means of travel, but to have fun?
That is actually a really good question. Do you mind if I should like talk to you tomorrow? Because I actually, it's one of those things where it's like
Of course.
I actually want to
I
think
want
about
you
and give
to
a thought.
think about that.
I would
Yes.
want to give a thoughtful answer. Is what I'm trying to say.
No, and I totally respect that. I no, flat out. And actually, I really appreciate that. And we will come back. And we will come back with part 2. Wait.
What are you trying to do?
What do you mean?
We're trying to get on Shark Tank.
Oh,
bud.
that's it.
Come on.
No, I need to. I can't turn
Just
it
gotta
on.
know. They want to know what your bottom line is. bud.
We'll talk tomorrow, darling.
Sounds good.
I don't even.